Hello, hello. Ron Callis here with another episode of Automation Unplugged. Brought to you by my day job at One Firefly. Today is, what is today? Today is Wednesday, July 15th. It's a little bit after 12:30 p.m. And I am going to jump over to Facebook just to make sure that looks like we are live. And I do already see Chris. Chris says, "Hey, Ron." Hey, Chris. Thanks for joining us. And so I'm going to assume because Chris already commented that we are live. It does look like we are good to go. Awesome. Well, thank you for signing in and joining us today. As always, don't forget to like. What is Chris saying here? Chris is saying you might got a night job then. I don't know. What did I say that he said that? But Chris, clarify. I'm not sure I follow. It's been one of those days. Here in the United States, today is tax filing day. July 15th. Normally it's April 15th. And so the federal government, I want to say because of COVID, maybe pushed that to July 15th. But nonetheless, it's been a scramble this morning, dotting our I's and crossing our T's. And One Firefly, we do business. You know, I have customers in and I have employees in many states. And what you don't realize when you talk about, or when I talk about the luxuries of having a remote and virtual workforce is that I have to pay state taxes in all of these states where all of my employees are based. And it means that my tax bill from my CPA is probably much higher than most businesses that do business in a single state. And so it's been a little bit crazy today, but I'm settled down. I'm super excited to bring you guys a longtime friend of mine and really industry veteran and rock star, the one and only Ken Vanemon from Sapphire Marketing here for show number 129. So I'm going to go ahead and click my screen here, and I'm going to bring Ken into the screen and get you guys introduced. What's up, Ken?
Not much. Happy Wednesday, tax day. Sorry to hear it's been a hectic day for you, but I don't have that problem, so we're all good.
Yeah, it's not one of my more favorite days. You know, I days you enjoy more than others. Days where you send the federal government and your state governments lots of money. That's not fun.
Oh,
yeah,
it is not fun. And let me say first off, thanks, number 129. I'm honored to be here. I've been watching what you've been doing, and as you and I know, we've been in touch for a little while. And guess what? I'm glad we were able to make this happen.
Yeah, man. I've been eyeing to have you on, and we've been kind of getting our schedules aligned. I want to say for a long time, and I'm glad we were able to make it happen now. Thank you for taking time.
Oh, my pleasure. And again, hopefully everybody's safe, right?
Absolutely. Well, we're safe. My family is safe. If you watch the news, I don't care what channel you watch, but if you watch the news, you'd think that there were zombies walking around, milling around your house here in Florida. I think we are, and I'm not trying to be derogatory, but this is what I've heard. We're the new Wuhan, or we're worse than Wuhan was at its peak. Miami is the new New York City in terms of hotspots.
And you and I talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that back in April when I called one morning. You and I were out both walking. And I was sort of sharing with you. I was appreciated that you would let me vent a little, because it was tough times back then, and everybody's still trying to figure it out day by day.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, here in One Firefly land, our team is located around the country and in the U.S. and in Mexico. And I think, I mean, my team is still safe and healthy to my knowledge. and my family is still safe and healthy. I do think that just simply being quarantined and being stuck in your home for extended periods of time, I think that is wearing on all of us. It's certainly, I know it's wearing on me. I'm trying to get out and get my walks in every morning. I walked this morning just to keep
Yep.
some sanity. But what are you doing to keep your sanity? Are you keeping your sanity?
I've been on that list for a long time. I do the same with you. I really got to start the morning and try to clear my head. And as we've been talking, I can only do this day by day right now because it's literally here in Northeast. Things have started to reopen, and you can only take it day by day. So the sanity is trying to remind yourself that you got to keep yourself sane and taking care of yourself. Because I do find that, as you said earlier, this has been a mental drain, not really a physical drain. I'm used to being on the road 4 and 5 days a week. And I think I'm at about 130 days of just working from home, which I'm learning to adapt to, just as everybody else, right? So, and every day I learn something a little bit different to try to relax and become a little more sane, if that's even possible.
If that's possible. All right. So I'm making, I don't want to make an assumption that our audience knows you or knows what you're doing and or even knows where you're at. So why don't we start there? Where are you physically located right now? And what do you do? And then I want to go back in time, and I always enjoy learning about how people got into this crazy business. But yeah, floor is yours.
Awesome. So I am basically located in a little town called Mount Arlington, northern New Jersey. And when you get out here, it's a beautiful part of New Jersey. I've got deer and one of the largest lakes about 5 minutes from my house. I basically work at Sapphire Marketing, so I'm the Northeastern Regional Sales Manager. And I cover all of New Jersey down to Philadelphia. I cover Manhattan when I'm able to get there. And I'm a manufacturer's rep. I have some great lines: Crestron, Digital Projection, Salamander, and I've been at Sapphire for 13 years.
Wow, that's so funny. Because why don't you tell the when we met?
You had worked for Crestron, and I'm not quite sure I recall because I am getting a little older. But somehow you and I got connected, and we met at a diner in Manhattan to have breakfast. And you shared some pearls of wisdom about, hey, I'm leaving to go do what you're doing now, and you're coming in. Let me just sort of give you a little bit of what the world might look like as you step into your role. And we had a great breakfast. That's where our friendship started. And literally, as you and I were talking before we got on this, I can't believe 13 years has gone by like that. It just felt like yesterday. So, and I was excited to see you right before we got locked down. You brought your entire company to our Crestron New York design showroom, and I looked around the room and went, "Wow, how many people do you have?" So that felt really good to see, because you and I were literally talking about One Firefly on a napkin at that breakfast meeting, which kind of blew me away. But kudos to you.
No, I appreciate that, and it's been a long journey with a lot of. If you give it the metaphor of riding a bike, there's been a lot of falling off the bike and a lot of skinned knees, but we're kind of starting to cruise a little bit now. And it's one thing I'll share with our audience is, Ken, you have always been one of those people that would just, regardless of what was going on in the world, and through the entirety of the last 13 years, you'd call me randomly and say, "Ron, how you doing?" And there's no business interest there. We don't do business together. We haven't in many, many years, but you just, you'd say, "Ron, I know you're out there making a go at it, and just what's working, what's not working, and how you doing?" And that's just really special to do that. And it says a lot about you and kind of the human that you are.
Well, I appreciate that. And in this industry, right, and I consider you sort of, everybody's got to find a mentor or someone that you respect. And I think one of the reasons that I felt like you had a good perspective on the globe, because as I watched you grow One Firefly, you had pulses on markets that I didn't, right? And I know my little micro world right here, but I don't know what that is. And I've watched you sort of mold and adapt and change. sometimes we got a chance to work together. I know some of my partners that I work with, I referred to you, you helped them. And I think if I can give you one of those little things that we talked about earlier about a nugget, is you got to maintain some of those relationships, because one thing I know for sure, things change. People find themselves in different positions. And, while we might believe our world in this industry is small, it is a small industry, but there's a lot of people that come and go, but there are still people like you and I that find a way to hang on. And so while I value our friendship, I still think that, hey, maybe there's some opportunity that you and I can do that. And it's just sort of how I go about the world and what I do every day.
We keep promising each other that we're going to work together again one day. We just don't know exactly when or where, but we know it's going to happen.
and here we are, right? We're kind of working together.
That's right. That's right. And then a member of the One Firefly team, he just posted a comment. It's Wes. He says, "I thought I recognized Ken. It was the New York City. Welcome to Automation Unplugged." So for
Thanks.
those that are watching and listening, we do a team event. Historically, we've done a couple events a year. Fortunately, we got a team event in right before the COVID madness. And we brought the whole team to New York City, and we did a lot of different industry activities. One of those was we spent a day at Crestron and toured both the New Jersey facilities and as well as the New York City showroom and experience center. And then you were very kind enough to drop in and actually speak to the team a little bit about Crestron. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, happy to do so. I was excited to see what all you've got going on. So keep going.
So Ken, bring us up to speed, and/or kind of how did you land in this crazy business? Like, let's go into the time machine. And you've been doing this for a little bit, and a little bit longer than me.
Yeah. Really? Okay.
I think so. I'd like to think so. I'm gonna keep telling myself that.
Well, there you go. Well, we look good for as old as we are, right? So
that's right.
I got into this by accident, right? And everybody's got that story. I'll dial back out of high school. I always loved music, and I spent 10 years. You may not know this, Ron. I spent 10 years on the radio as a disc jockey, and always loved music. Was always around it, and this industry with the AV and all the cool toys. So I had moved. I'm from Pennsylvania originally, but I had kind of migrated out of high school. I went to California. I went to Chicago. While I was in Chicago, I just needed a break. I was selling computers. The computer market was just starting to change. And I actually drove by a Best Buy. And I thought, I'm just going to check this out. Didn't have a clue about what the retail world would be, but it was the largest Best Buy at that time in the country. It was in Schaumburg, Illinois. I interviewed. I became I think it called a product specialist at that time. And I worked under a gentleman named James Luke, who at the time was the only commission salesperson for Best Buy. And we hit it off. And in a very short period of time, I worked my way up through. I got nominated to be in their management program. Long story short is the Bose guy would come in every Saturday and do this little demonstration with AM5s, and he'd stack them up to the roof, and he would play them and sell them by the boatloads. Well, at the time, I had also a competing brand called JBL, and I started doing little packages like the Bose guy did. And all of a sudden, the JBL manufacturer came into this store and said, "What's going on in this store? They're selling more systems out of the store than anywhere in the country." And they pointed in my direction. So you don't, as the retail world, you're working weekends, holidays, there's no life, right? So they came to me and said, "Hey, how would you like to be working for JBL Direct? I want you to go just around Chicago and make sure everything is set up, it works fine, and teach guys on the floor how to sell, how to sell this and why this is the better speaker." So I got a life back, right? I wasn't working weekends and nights and holidays, and I ended up being able to be moved back to New Jersey, closer to home, and I had 6 people that would go around and do that. And then by working with JBL, I ran into Audi Associates, which was a major rep company here in Metro New York, and the guy there happened to be the sales manager, worked at JBL, and he said, "Hey, I've got a sales job for you." And I said, "I'm not a sales guy. I'm a trainer. I don't know how to sell." He goes, "Ha, you do know how to sell. Come work at my rep company." Spent 7 years there. Another manufacturer hired me. And then I came home from a CEDIA one time. And one of my customers called me up and said, "Hey, do you know Marla Suttenberg? She owns a company called Sapphire." And at the time I went, "Oh, they're the Crestron guys, right?" He said, "Yeah, she needs a guy like you." Marla and I had a 3-hour lunch. She literally called me on the way home and said, "What do you need to come here?" And that was 13 years ago. So
what was
here I
your
am.
first day? Do you remember the day or the month that you joined?
I joined in November. I think it was November 7th, 2007.
That's amazing. I quit Crestron on October 31st, 2007. And so
you and I got
literally
somehow connected.
we got connected. I don't remember how that happened, but I ended up,
Me neither.
you and I had that breakfast there in New York City. It must have been within weeks or months of me departing to start this.
Right.
Yeah, that's a wild and crazy story. I have a question. You've spent a career selling. Do you think that salesperson are born or made?
I'll answer that twofold. I think a salesperson is a person that can communicate, touch base, kind of. I feel like, and I say this all the time, I could get dropped into a room with 50 people that I don't know, and within 5 minutes, sort of survey it, start to know who I can talk to, who I can approach. As I told you earlier, I'm not a salesperson. I can show up. I think some of the things are really simple. Is if you're a customer, I got to look at what value can I bring to you and how can I make your life easier. And I don't like to be, I didn't start out 20 years ago to be a salesperson, but here I am. I've been able to provide for my family and have a good life. But I was told early on when I started at Audio Associates by a gentleman that said, "Look, there's 3 things you need to do. You need to show up. You need to do what you say you'll do. And if you're not going to be able to do that, you need to tell your customer that you can't do it." And I kind of thought at the time that seemed pretty trivial and pretty simple. But here I am 20 some years later, and that's what I do, right? And I think most people don't know how to do that. Like you and I were talking earlier, there are some people that just aren't self-motivated. I'm self-motivated. I get out of bed every morning. Nobody needs to call me and check in on me. I do that on my own. That's what I do. So to answer that, maybe in a long roundabout way, I think there are some people who are really good at sales, but I would say that they're not really selling. They're communicating. They're able to communicate that, and it makes people feel comfortable. And the old adage, "Can you sell me a pen?" Well, I got to find out if you want a pen first, right? So
yeah, for sure.
That's kind of it. And that's my sales. That's my sales 101.
What's your perception of your integrators? And a lot of our audience are integrators, business owners located around the world, but operating within this space. And do you think that they need to hire amazing sales people, or do you think that they need to know how to grow or groom great sales habits, and that leads to effective results?
Well, so I call on a spectrum of dealers in my marketplace. I have guys that are literally one-man operations, and then I've got people that have 50 people. I think each one of those kind of goes to the market a little bit differently, because if I'm a one-man shop, I'm the sales guy. I'm the guy designing it. I'm the guy installing it. I think there are still some people out there, call it sales if you want, Ron, but it's more about how do we communicate this technology.
I'm going
to
put this out there. So let me clarify. I know sales, and I'm a salesperson, right? I'm a CEO, and I'm an engineer, and I'm I don't know, I'm crazy, but I love the art of selling, right? But sales as a word is a dirty word, right? So I want to put the dirty word aside. A company holds a certain individual accountable to achieve new business. And the techniques that person operates under, whether you read book A, B, or C, or practice the challenger sale, or practice the consultative sale, or whatever your technique is, when I say a good salesperson, someone that consistently puts the wins on the boards that they're expected to put on the board. That's however you do it, you do it. But there's all salespeople are not created equal. Some perform at higher levels. You perform at a higher level. I've watched you for your career. You do that consistently, so you have that perspective. For those that are listening and they want to achieve growth, or they want to achieve certain revenue outcomes in tough climates, you could argue, I mean, maybe COVID for some is a tough climate. I know for the residential technology market, it's actually pretty good right now. So
yeah,
I'm just curious. I always love to find out how people think about effective sales operations within companies. And I know I didn't prep you that I'd be asking you that in advance. I thought you'd be an interesting person to get your perspective.
So, and again, good question. I think, I was here in 2008 when the world collapsed. We still keep going, right? I think my technique is more about, I look at every dealer as a partner, and everybody's going to, even my dealers perform at different levels. My success, I think, has been creating a relationship to where no matter what, I'm not the guy calling at the end of the month for a PO. And don't get me wrong, POs are nice, but I've always taken the path that if I'm doing something to help my partner feel that I'm part of their business, it could just be a conversation or a hey, let me bounce this off of you. What do you think? And I find myself over the last 3 months, Ron, being able to do that because everybody's trying to figure it out. Some dealers have a plan. Some dealers have no plan. And I feel blessed to be able to feel that they could come to me and say, hey, what do you think? What are you seeing out there? So yes, are there techniques? It's pretty simple to ask yes or no questions, right? Hey, can I help you? I've got something I'd like to sell you or look at. Can you do that? And I think maybe my success has been because I've been that guy that has religiously performed for them. I'm in a unique position where I'm able to maybe have that ability to ask that question. And I've been told by a lot of guys in the marketplace, hey, you know what? By far, you're one of my best reps. And I always ask, why is that? Because you make my life easy. You just take care of what I need to take care of, right? You recognize I've got other things to manage. And so that's been my success. I do read books. I'm reading a really good book right now, written by a hostage negotiator called Don't Split the Difference. It's really interesting because he's taken his techniques and worked them into a sales process. I'll pass the book along to you. I'll make sure that you have it because I'm really into it right now. And
I appreciate that.
I don't want to be able to go out there and do some kind of Jedi mind trick on anybody. Right. But I think, as you said, you took away the sales term. I never ever wanted to be associated to be like the fast-paced car sales guy. Never wanted to do that. But yet, guess what? The reality of it is my business card says I'm a salesperson, right? And I am, and I do sell things, and I get paid because I sell things. But I think you can sell maybe I call it almost like a consultative sell, right?
Selling without selling.
Yeah, and I wanted to be able to do that because I didn't want anybody to ever feel like I've sold them. In fact, I've probably maybe left money on the table because sometimes every now and then you'll know that you've got a product that just isn't ready yet, and you say to the guy, hey, give this 3 or 6 months, it'll be good, but don't buy it right now. And I didn't an immediate sale, but I looked at that as if I sell that now and I cause him issues, his trust in me down the road 6 months from now is not going to be good. And I value that. And I literally, whether you're a $50,000 a year customer or a $1 million customer, I treat everybody as a partner. And I would like to maybe believe that might be a secret. I don't know. Maybe a year from now, I'll be writing a book with you and I'll get your input on that. I don't know.
I think that's it. You and I should write a book. That'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
I don't know if anyone will read it, but
well, we say we have a book.
We can say we have a book. We can say we're authors. So exactly. Speaking of selling and maybe challenging markets, you've maybe been in the toughest market in the country, at least as it relates to the United States, to try to put wins on the board. And so you're serving the Northeast. What is it like? And I'll be specific. What's it like in New York City trying to do, what's the life of an integrator like right now in New York City?
So challenging, right? And let me just step back to March, because it literally, here's the part that really kind of, and you and I talked a little bit about this. I was into a meeting on Thursday, middle of March, and I went to a Starbucks that I normally go to. And that morning, they didn't have the condiments out. And I said behind the guy, I said, "Hey, Ron, where are the condiments?" And he goes, "Oh, you can't touch them now. I have to do that." I kind of drove home that night and thought, wow, I've known about the virus, but I really wasn't paying attention to it. That Monday morning, New York was ground zero. We didn't get a ramp up. Things just shut down. I literally received a call from Marla that said, "You cannot go out. You're at home right now." My dealers were the same way. Job sites shut down. It wasn't a gradual, "Hey, let me get this done before we shut down." New York got locked down. Fast forward 3 months, we're open, but we're open to the point of there still are some residential buildings where if you don't live there, they won't let the dealer in. Trying to get an elevator to go up. Vertical living in New York City, which is what it is, can be very challenging on its normal time. Now, 2 people limited to an elevator. How do I get product into the building? A dealer 6 months ago closed the job saying, "Okay, in my mind, I'm going to have 5 dealers on, techs on this job." Now they're being told they can have 1. And I'm having those conversations on a daily basis. They are literally trying to figure it out on a day by day. I think I had one dealer last Friday he only brought back 5 techs in his whole company out of 15. 2 techs went to a job site on a Friday. Monday, the client called and said, "Hey, I need to give you a heads up. Someone in my family tested positive. My dealer now has to remove 2 of his techs for the next 14 days. Challenging. And, in the meantime, for the last 3 months, they've been trying to stay alive, being shut down. So to say that it's been challenging by any means is an understatement. And everybody's got a different level of that. But I have found that there's still good things, right? We're busy. We're off to a new year at Crestron. July is coming out of and I kind of summed it up as like people took a nap in Metro New York for 3 months, and they're now starting to wake up, and things are starting to happen, and some buildings are starting to open up. Everybody's got an individual situation, whether the GC owns the project or the homeowner. You got to be flexible. Everybody's got new rules to play by. And, I know that the term "the new normal" has been going around out there for a while. Every day is a new normal because something changes every day.
Across all of your manufacturers you represent, you are calling on, is it accurate that you're calling on both the residential and the commercial side of things?
I would say like an 80-20, right? And it's interesting because through all of this, at least for Metro New York, consider that you have 200 employees in a building in New York. Nobody wants to go back right now. So the company's going, "Hey, well, let me do this. I'll open up a small office in New Jersey. We'll open a small office in Manhattan, and the people that need to come to the mothership, they'll come to the mothership." So I won't say commercial business is dead, because it's not by any means. It continues, but it's changing. Residentially, some of the guys in the residential world are saying, "Hey, I never really thought about the commercial side of it, but you guys got some really cool video technology that maybe now that people and CEOs are working from home, maybe we get them out from in front of their 13-inch screen on their computer, and we put in a little bit better system that can give them a better experience so they can still do their video calls, stay connected to the mothership." So I'm seeing new channels of business sort of evolving and developing, and dealers that never thought about that. Like, I'm going, "Hey, if you don't have chops in the networking world, you might want to consider that, because everybody's now getting a better network because there's 7 people at home working instead of 1." So that's sort of how I'm seeing it. And it's exciting because while you can buy into the doom and gloom, there are a lot of good things going on. I'm extremely, I could tell you right now, I don't have the ability to not find an extra hour in the day. My phone is constantly ringing. I'm constantly following up. Projects that were on hold are now coming back to life. So that's encouraging, right? And I don't know, as you said, everybody across the world, I'm sure it's different in different markets, but I think New York was sort of early, and now we are coming back out of it. We've done the right thing, and I'm hoping day by day it's getting better and better.
I haven't followed it closely, so I'm assuming the infection rates in the New York area are going down at this point.
Oh, significantly have dropped to, before, kind of like early on when we first started. I know New Jersey, being that we're in New Jersey, New York sort of does whatever, and then New Jersey sort of follows. But the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, since they're all so tight, have really, it was not easy to lock everybody down in terms of, I think, I normally could put 1,000 miles a week on my car, Ron, to give you an idea. In the last 130 days, I think I've filled my car up twice. I go to the grocery store, I come home. I have only seen one or two of my dealers. They've been comfortable. We meet outside. We sit 6 foot apart. We both wear masks. We talk about business. I think we need it as humans. We need that interaction. I'm sure you, since you do this so much more, the Zoom burnout, the Teams burnout. I don't want to be on too many Zoom calls per day because it just gets crazy. And I feel like I'm working harder being at home. I look forward to getting back out and being on the road and getting to travel a little bit. And I miss the city. I truly miss the city. I spent 3 days a week in the city. I miss my partners, and knock on wood, most of them have all come out of this and they're all starting to get back to business.
When do you, I don't know that you can answer this or that it's a fair question, but I'll ask it anyway. When is New York City again? I mean, New York City is one of my favorite places in the world to visit. I love New York City. Or I should say I love it.
I agree 100%.
I don't know what it's going to become.
It's a fair question. I don't know either. People have been asking me, hey, when are you going to go back to the city? I got some great restaurants and favorite places I love to go. I love riding the subways. I love walking around, especially in the summertime. I don't know. I'm going to have to play that by ear. Right now, I've talked to a couple of my dealers that have started to go back to the city. They said it's starting to come back to life. It won't ever be the same. I mean, I think the reality that we all have to come to is that today is what it is. It's not going to go back to be what it was before March. It's not. There are some businesses that won't make it. I see every day another business that just can't survive it. But you know what? New York is New York, and this market is this market. I think all we can do is just keep looking forward and keep moving and try to stay as positive, and hopefully things will, hopefully somebody will get some more positive things about this, and this won't be such a day-by-day change for everybody. I don't know. I gotta go into that. Otherwise, I will drive myself absolutely insane.
Yeah, you gotta get out of bed and stay positive, because the alternative is just no fun. So, and it's a choice.
And that's not where I am.
And and on that note, there's actually a couple of comments here. So I'm going to drop them on the screen just to give these folks shout outs. We got Carlos. He says, hi from Mexico.
From Mexico.
Excited to learn more about the experience acquired from the industry. And he's definitely going to be dropping those nuggets along the way, Carlos. And then we got Mackenzie. She goes, that sounds extremely challenging, but I love your positive attitude and optimistic outlook through all this craziness. To experience this in New York would be crazy. She's in Salt Lake City. So I think Ken goes, yes, it's crazy.
And you can choose. We have choices, right? As you just said earlier, I can choose to be crazy, or I can choose to kind of look at it from a different perspective. And perspective is always good, right? And I tell my 15-year-old, you and I were talking about our kids earlier. I wish I could tell you, Ron, that I have a playbook. I don't have a playbook. No one, I don't think, has a playbook. That's sort of the frustration that a lot of people feel, right? So I've sort of thought, I'm going to create my own playbook. I got to do what I feel is right. And I get to dictate whether I want to cross the street or stay on this side. And I'm trying to remain safe. I do things that I think are smart. Well, at least my kid may tell you that, but I think if we all can kind of stay positive and help a little bit and just realize that, it's another one of those things where we're all in this. It's not different. And I felt maybe because New York got hit hard first, I can share some of the things with it. And I got out of bed day by day by day. And again, as you were saying, I pride myself in what I do, and it was struggling to see what I wasn't able to do. And I couldn't feel like I could help my dealers. And I wasn't putting up the numbers as a sales guy to do what I do. But you know what? I was blessed. I still have a job, which a lot of people out there don't. This industry, crazy as it is, continues to keep moving forward. And I'm blessed to be able to say that, hey, you know what? I decided I was going to get through this. I'm still getting through it, and we're all going to still get through it. It's just going to be day by day.
No, amen. I agree. So let's stay on that positive note. Tell me about some of the brands that Sapphire represents and some of the particularly in demand or cool tech or solutions that you're hearing buzz about in your marketplace. So you represent a bunch of cool brands. What's buzzworthy out there?
Well, so Crestron has a new product platform called Crestron Home. And in a nutshell, if you don't know much about Crestron, I'll call it the happy meal of automation. It doesn't require any heavy lifting from a programming standpoint. It's been around for about 8 months in the version that it is today, Ron, but it's been that product. Timing is everything, I believe. And Crestron has kind of dipped their toe in the sandbox over the years, but now this product is for real. And people who have been on the sidelines that have been around Crestron for a long time know that we've sort of kind of come and gone from this, are now calling up and saying, hey, okay, I've seen it. I've heard about it. 8 months, it's out there. Every 45 days, there's something new coming to it. And that's been exciting, right? Because more and more people, I think, are going to be spending time at home, realize that maybe their older Crestron system could be updated now. It's got a really cool, slick GUI UI, and that's been hot. I mean, that's literally every day I'm taking a phone call.
So I'm going to go in the way back machine, back when I used to, I knew Crestrons, I knew some stuff. Maybe it's now 13 years ago. It almost makes me laugh saying it's been that long ago. And, so many of the dealers and I have watched and paid attention through some of the other iterations of Crestron, but I know that many Crestron integrators like to custom program their jobs. They like to use their custom UI. I don't remember the name of the software. So what is the name of the software that they would recognize?
Simple Windows.
Simple Windows. And they're kind of stuck in delivering their solution. How have you found, or who have you found is responding in the way that's positive to adopting a more configurable type environment that is Crestron Home?
So you're always going to have that client that the project just needs customization, right? So that will never go away. That's always that sort of a unique thing. The beauty behind that is that not every dealer needs to deliver that level of a solution, and not every dealer can, right? So I think Home sort of came about that. Guess what? When you and I both use our iPhone, we know how to use an app where it's predictable what the experience will be. I may have apps that you don't have, but we all know how to use it. That's the beauty behind Home. It's got a slick UI. Whether you know anything about Crestron or you don't, I could kind of give it the grandmother test. She could turn some lights on and find some things. And that's been a path that we've kind of, the thing out there about Crestron is that we can do anything. But the old adage of less is more, that's what Crestron Home delivers. And we've hit a home run with it. I got to be honest with you. And that's not a sales pitch. We've hit a home run with it. And I myself was a little like, oh boy, I've been down this road before. But we've done it. We've got 60, I think, engineers dedicated to it, that it's constantly being updated. Day one, it wasn't 100% out of the box, but we knew what the roadmap looked like. We take a lot of feedback. We've beta tested it with external partners. So they're testing it before we release it. So those are all new things that we weren't doing 13 years ago when you were here. And we've learned along the way, but it's the newest thing. And I'm hearing from people that had older Crestron that now they go, hey, all the kids are gone. We don't need the Maserati. We're happy with the Lexus. Can I get the Lexus? Absolutely. And that delivers it, right? And the sandbox for the Home platform is monstrous. I mean, you can do 200 lighting loads. I can do 30. It's big. It's big.
Does this change your distribution model? And I guess perhaps you could only speak on behalf of the way Sapphire Marketing is handling this in your territory. Is this changing who is able or you're willing to do business with as Crestron?
Yes and no. I haven't gone and just said, hey, now I've got what I'll call the Tinker toy version of Crestron, so I'm just going to go open up everybody. That's not what I'm looking to do. I'm replacing some other solutions with this product. So, I'm trying to minimize the dealer having to be, dealing with 5 manufacturers when I could say, hey, look, I can take that one room solution for you instead of you selling another remote. Why not put a base system in, and now we can show some value to the client and maybe add a light switch here and sort of put that heart of the system in, and dealers are going, oh, that's great. I like it because I get to see you and you show up and I know it's a good product.
I have a question that just came in. Sean just asked,
Sure.
He said distribution. This is still only dealer direct, correct?
Dealer direct. Yep. Crestron today does not go through distribution. We are a direct dealer. And that's a conversation wherever he's located. He should reach out to his local dealer, because to answer your question, how is my marketplace changing? There are people who've been watching this and seeing it start to evolve and looking at it and saying, hey, maybe the other brand that I have, maybe I can move more business over to there, because Crestron pretty much touches everything that you could put into a house, from lights to shades to your AV to your HVAC. And we work with third-party people. This platform is allowing dealers to do that. And the biggest thing is they don't have that programmer on staff, which most dealers, I'd say probably 80% of my dealers don't have that guy, because they've got to have enough jobs going on to keep him busy. And he comes at a price ticket that most people don't have.
So what's the model there, just to peel the layers back? So they don't have a programmer. Do you then cross-train all the installers to be able to configure?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a beautiful thing, right? If you've got 5 technicians that can go out and basically deploy the simpler solution, you've just increased your workability for your team 5-fold. And this is exciting, because the dealers that are still doing simple windows now look at this as an entirely different channel, where they would have passed on a project that might be, say, a $50,000 automation, because they couldn't tie up their programmer for a smaller job. So this is where I'm going back to all of my partners and saying, hey, those jobs that you just don't want, let's look at how we can do this. And hey, your lead tech can be the main guy that can go out and just, deploy this project. And I've got a lot of partners now on this that say that, things that would take them 3-4 days to do through the traditional way, they're now deploying projects in a day to 2 days. And the clients are like, you're done? Like, how's that possible? That wasn't what happened the last time. So it's a changing dynamic.
What training is required for a dealer to be able to, does every Crestron dealer automatically have access to this? And what what is that process?
We've moved right now, unfortunately, with being locked down, we're not doing any training at headquarters, but we've created a lot of online videos. Ron, this is literally simple configuration where you download the app, it walks you through the steps. And then we've also got some really good field resources, which we have never had. I've got 3 what we call subject matter experts. I've got one in Florida, one here, and one out in the Midwest. And those guys will come out to help a dealer sort of deploy the first project. During COVID being locked down, I think I did like 25 webinars with my top integrators. And it's about a 2-hour hands-on. We load up the software, we walk you through it, we show you, and we're there to help the dealer deploy a good solution. But if you're able to
really
deploy,
there's no programming. You're really configuring a job in a couple of hours?
Literally configuring a job in a couple hours. And the beautiful thing behind it is, while I'm at the house, and you'll know because you used to have to upload and wait and change. If I want to change a lighting scene, I do that on the fly, press hold like a preset in your car, game over, it's done. I can leave the job fully functioning and not have to worry about the programmer doing an update or anything like that. So, and I'm just finding the feedback of the clients that are starting to live with it goes, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be able to have a little bit of control of my own. And if I do want to do something outside the box, I can still contact my dealer. And the beautiful thing behind it is Crestron's been around for almost 50 years. There are so many jobs out there that I've got dealers literally making a living doing upgrades, just reaching out and saying, hey, let's just get you into 2020 with a new interface and new third-party solutions that you didn't have the ability to have 13, 15 years ago.
No, that is cool. And we got Tomas Wing from Panama. He says it's fairly simple platform, Ron. Faster and very user friendly. There you go. That sounds like a Crestron dealer preaching.
Thanks.
So
there you go.
I think you owe Tomas a $20 bill in the mail, Ken. I think he's got to send it that way. By the way, Tomas did comment. He says he loves the Ken and Will show. So why don't you tell the audience here what that show is and how they can find it?
So back when we got locked down, my counterpart Will Sexton's based in Arizona, and I think just one day we called to sort of vent to each other. And he's living with Crestron Home in his house. I don't have it, so I said, hey, you know what we should do? We should just kind of jump on here, do a quick little video, do a good cop, bad cop kind of thing, and just talk about some of it. Because what happened was we did such a major update to Home right when we got locked down here that we were afraid that it would get lost, right? And we were excited as the sales guys. We were excited about it. We just didn't want it to get lost in the madness going on in the world. So we just decided we would just pick 2 or 3 topics involved in Crestron Home and sort of do what we're doing here and just talk about it. And, you know, it was sort of tongue in cheek. We started calling it the Ken and Will show. We were doing it about once every week and a half, 2 weeks, because there was so much out there. And unfortunately, we went through our year end with Crestron. So as sales guys, we had to stay focused on that. But back to Panama, we will be coming back. Will and I just spoke yesterday. And now that we're into a new year, we really want to refine it, because we feel like we can talk as normal guys about what it is, and Will being able to live with it. He's experiencing it firsthand. So it's a really good little platform. We've had fun with it. And
I don't know if Randy or John are listening, but I think Ken needs some Crestron Home in his house. I think Ken has earned it. I think there needs to be a large set of boxes and packages on his doorstep this week. And just let's create your list, Ken. Let's figure out all the technology you want, and I'll make sure it goes up the chain.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know, I'm pretty simple about that, right? And that's funny. Here I am, right? I sell stuff that I don't even live with. It's not because I don't want to.
You know, there was a time earlier in my career, I worked for Lutron before Crestron, and I have no idea if they still do this. But Lutron, as a young salesperson, they literally would send us suitcases full of demo product for everything that we were expected to talk about. I outfitted my homes with Radio Raw. And I mean, I had graphic eyes. I had so many cool lamp dimmers. I was giving them to family members. I was spreading the love, but I could speak first person about it because I lived with it. And I know Crestron doesn't do that. And I think they should. I think they need to hook up all their salespeople with cool toys.
There we go.
And I'm totally getting you in trouble. So I'm going to move on to a different topic.
It's a good plan.
So Home Time. This is the video conference camera doo-woppy that lives in the living room or office. Tell everyone listening what that is.
So again, Home Time sort of evolved out of this. John Clancy, everybody that was kind of locked down, and it was a great partnership with Logitech, Zoom, and Crestron. And it's just a higher quality. I mean, you've seen all the videos on Facebook and all the other social medias about how, you know, people's screens are locking up, and this was sort of one of those things where it was like, how do we take what is obviously going to be the foreseeable future for people that are working from home? How do we make that experience better? Right. And guess what? In my mind, it was the trifecta. Logitech makes amazing product. Zoom, from what I was told, didn't really even recognize the residential market before COVID hit. And all of a sudden, everybody now, we have Zoom contests about who can have a better background. Everybody knows what Zoom is. So that partnership, and again, kudos to Randy. Randy recognized that and said, hey, you know what? You make good product. We make good product. We got to find some way to be able to do that. And it's being, it's relatively early, but more and more dealers are starting to realize that, hey, I'm doing the CEO's house. He needs a better experience. And, I'm hearing that category in itself will become a little more expanded for Crestron. So home time is it's a beautiful little solution for somebody that doesn't want to be sitting in front of their computer and still be able to have the ability to do what you and I are doing right now.
Other brands, what else is cool and kind of buzzworthy out there right now?
So it's neat. I also represent, Salamander, and it's interesting because they're seeing a phenomenon with their seating sales. Some of these conference rooms are no longer going to have the round table around them, so they're taking the tables out, putting in some really nice theater-based chairs with little tables on them, and everybody's 6 feet apart, which is really interesting, right? I never really thought about it. We were on a conference call yesterday. It was absolutely like, wow, I wish I would have thought of that. And so for those guys, they're local, it's quality. It's kind of like, getting, the Italian furniture in 5 days instead of 14 and 18 weeks. And they're adapting, right? They're kind of doing that pivot of, oh my gosh. And they're saying that they're seeing more theaters being built, which I'm hearing from my dealers. Because let's face it, I think that this isn't going away anytime soon. People are going to be staying at home more. Why not have some quality time? And I'm seeing that across the board with, digital projections. Another one of my manufacturers, they're starting to get more inquiries about projectors because theaters are being built. Which 6 months ago, a year ago, I don't know when I could tell you the last theater that I was involved with. So things come full circle, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I think home theater and home office, right? I've mentioned this on a few shows for, all the websites and other marketing we do for integrators. I hadn't heard home office being a topic pre-COVID. We had developed content for it. No one asked for it. Right. No one wanted it. It wasn't in the conversation. Now it's in the top 3 list.
And it's a conversation that I'm having every day because someone will call me up and go, hey, I need you to help me understand what that category looks like. What do I need? How do I get into it? And I know there's some additionally new products coming from Crestron that will sort of allow that to be a good, better, best. If you don't need a commercial grade, but you just need something for the home office. I mean, my home office for the last 130 days, because there's been multiple people working from my house, has been my bedroom. That's just not my home office. I'm moving some things around the basement, and I'm going to create a home office. I need to do that. So I'm sure I'm only one of many out there that are running into the same situation, just as you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got Thomas. He just posted the new commercial furniture from Salamander is awesome.
Yep.
I think you and Tomas are synced up. He's digging what you're throwing down.
Tomas,
that's
to
right.
you and I appreciate that.
That's so cool. Ken, where can those that are watching or listening learn more about you or follow you on the socials? Is there what would you direct them to?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm a little more just staying in that world because there's just so many things out there, but I am expanding that. But go check out sapphiremarketing.com. We have our own page out there. We've just updated that. We're becoming much more into the social media world, and someone's now managing that. So reach out to me, touch base with me on, I'm Ken at sapphiremarketing.com. I'd love to be able to, hey, even if we just need to chat, I don't know what's going on in Panama, but I'd love to talk to anybody out there that feels I might be able to offer some perspective. I'm always up for that.
Awesome. And where can folks catch the Ken and Will show?
So the Ken and Will show right now, we just pretty much do a little 15-minute video. We'll launch it out there. We've been putting it on LinkedIn. Stay tuned. I'll let you know, so maybe you can let the world know. We're going to sort of refine that and try to take it to the next level. Don't know exactly what that looks like, but we're definitely talking about that.
Awesome. Exciting. Ken, it was a pleasure to have you on episode number 129, man.
129, man. Good to see you. And please do this. Make sure everybody continues. Your family stays safe. You stay safe, as well as the family at One Firefly. We'll do the same next time you're in New York. Hopefully we can meet again in the hotel lobby and have a different level conversation than we're having right now.
Amen, man. I look forward to it. I was just having that conversation with Daniele just this past weekend that we look forward to traveling, look forward to going back to New York. So hopefully it's sooner than later. But that said, I think we all need to be patient and wear our masks and stay socially distanced, and let's beat this thing so we can get back to life as at least in some frame of what we formerly knew. So
I'm there with you, and this was a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll let you know when I get back to the city what's open and what's not. Okay.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you, Ken. All right, gang, there you have it. If you have not already done so, go to your Spotify or your Apple Podcast or your favorite podcast environment. Don't forget to subscribe to Automation Unplugged. I'd love you to leave a review of the show. That would ultimately help us in the algorithms, get that content out to more people. That would be a lovely thing. And on that note, stay safe, wear your masks, keep your distance, and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks, everyone. Be well.